Good evening. Welcome to the Library Squad's lockdown series. This is episode 8, where Dungeons and Dragons and Wizards meet the art. Sounds about right. Good evening and welcome to another lockdown series show, ladies and gentlemen. This evening we have the pleasure of Miss Princess Gooner in the house. Welcome back, PG.
Woo-hoo. When was I on? I was only on 2 nights ago. Oh no, we was on a Bird Camp Wonderland last night, weren't we?
That's right. We were on someone else's podcast last night, talking about wonderful things. Super Kevin Campbell is back. Super Kev. Oh,
back again.
And I am very happy to introduce this fella with a new title because I'm very proud of him. He is. We met on the set of a film called Barely Lethal a good few years ago. He had the pleasure of directing the legend that is Samuel Jackson, Jessica Alba, Game of Thrones Sophie Turner, and uber talented Haley Steinfeld in a superbly fun film. If you haven't seen it, you should catch it on streaming platforms. But most importantly, he's doing so many exciting things, and I'm proud to announce and pronounce Mr. Kyle Newman as a New York Times best-selling author. Welcome to the show, Kyle. Woo!
Woo! Thank you. Thank you. That was a good surprise to wake up and see the book listed as a New York Times bestseller. And we did it 2 weeks in a row, and Amazon bestseller. I was like, all right, we did something right here. This is good. It's a good feeling.
How cool is that? And to top that off as well, Kyle, not to overshadow your New York Times best-selling, book, but Tyrese Campbell, Kevin's son, was just voted Player of the Month as well. So a good round of applause for Tyrese as well.
Well done, yes. Tyrese, for the proud daddy.
Very proud, very proud.
We like his aunties.
I know. I feel like a proud auntie.
You are, aren't you? You are.
I'm old enough to be his auntie.
Oh,
I'm also trying to think, Amanda, of what I've achieved. I don't, just thinking, so I need to come up with something for both of us.
Yeah, well,
it might take a while. Anyway, Kyle, welcome to the show. Good to have you back. It's been a crazy, crazy year for everybody. Insane stuff. And, there's nothing like the Arsenal, really, is there, to kind of add to the insanity. Although, you and I have been there when they've been here in LA, as well as being a filmmaker, and writer, producer, all the things that you do. You're a Gooner at heart, which is why you're here. You're a friend of the show and you're back. We did a show the other night where we all picked our top 5 favorite current Arsenal players. So we're going to throw you right into the pit fire and have you give us your current favorite 5. And then we're going to get to more Arsenal chat. And then D&D fans who are tuning in and listening, we will get to the book and we'll get to some stories from Kyle, how it came together. And then at the end of the show, we will give you the question that will give Kyle's book away.
Maybe 2. Kyle. Maybe we can do 2.
Well, Kevin Campbell's going to want one. He made that clear yesterday.
My son, that, Kyle. I'm telling you that now. I'm claiming one.
You know what? I'm going to send you one too separately. If you send me your address, I'm going to send you one, and we'll do a giveaway too.
Oh, okay, I'm so excited! I want one. What is it?
All right, I'll get you guys one, and then we're going to get 2 for listeners.
All right,
brilliant,
you are so cool,
fantastic.
Kyle.
Thanks, Kyle.
It might take me a minute. Of course, it's just I'm in Toronto right now because I'm about to film a movie, so I don't have all my copies here, but I have some back in Los Angeles. But I will get them out.
Don't worry. We'll wait patiently.
Whenever you can, yeah.
That's very
I can get
sweet.
you guys. I can maybe get them sooner. I'm going to figure it out. I'll hook it up. Just get me the addresses, and we'll figure out who wins, and we'll figure out how to get them before Christmas.
That'll be cool. KC just wants to see people cooking. He's just curious to see what people come up with. So maybe that's something we can.
That's a question for later, actually. Yeah.
Right then, Kyle. Let's get to some Gooner action. We all kind of, your current top 5.
Are we talking about just based on performance, like in the past 2 weeks?
No. Like favorites, whether you love their social media, their personality.
This season.
Yeah, it just doesn't.
All right, here we go. I love Aubameyang.
Mm-hmm.
Love him. I love his new rapport with Ian Wright. I think that's great to see when they're on social media. I love to see Ian Wright coming around. Can I just name him too? No, I love Aubameyang. I have Ceballos. I'd like to see used a little more, but I feel like I would love to see him sitting a little more forward. I don't feel like we have anybody in that position, in that hole. We're not connecting into those channels like we used to.
10. Yeah, number 10.
We're predictable. And maybe not even like he's a traditional number 10, but I feel like we're not advanced enough. And I think he's comfortable there. I am liking Tierney. I love Tierney. I think despite that injury setback last season, I think he's settled in well. He just feels like a trooper. I like his work ethic. I'm really emboldened by Gabriel. I just like throwing him in, get these players in the mix, embedding him in the team, letting him learn the league. I wouldn't attribute any of our setbacks recently to him. I think whenever he's on the field, I feel like we've done better. I feel like our early losses, because of really poor team selection. It's like we had a great team, and then he drops players right before these good games like Liverpool and stuff, and we just rejiggered the lineup. And I guess what's that? Is that three?
That's three.
Four.
Oh,
So
that's four?
Four. Yeah.
Who do I want to go with now? You know what? I want to unleash Pepe.
Mm-hmm.
Unleash him. Play him. What is he doing there? If it's not him, it's Saka. Like I want to see them used more. I want to see them used together. I want to see Aubameyang used where he should be, which is in the middle. And let's not neuter our team. I just want players that want to create, players that want to go forward, players that want to take people on, players that want to dribble. Like, use them. Right now, we're predictable. Emaciated.
Emaciated. Woof. That's a big word for the podcast, isn't it?
We have a threadbare attack right now. I think it's easily neutralized. It's predictable, and it does fall on Arteta's shoulders.
Indeed, Amanda. Arteta, the big question. Go on.
There's no big question about Arteta.
Well, we should know what Kyle thinks about Arteta.
What do you think, Kyle?
I like him. I think there's solidarity. I think he's brought in respect, structure. I think the way he's handled some players has been tough, maybe tougher than I would have handled. I don't know what happened behind the scenes with Guendouzi or Ozil. I think not using Ozil, it came down to beyond more than even his maybe personality between Arteta and Ozil. I think there is some behind the scenes stuff that we don't know about financially, but bordering on suicidal, not using you need a number 10. We're crying out for this position. We didn't adequately purchase in the summer window. There's a freaking hole the size of a tractor trailer you could park in our attack. There's just nobody that can get into this position that can distribute. And where we used to be so effective was like getting behind and putting balls into the channel, things that Ljungberg, Hleb, all these people used to be able to do. We don't have that anymore. And it's just like get the ball wide, hope you dump it in. It's like those seasons where we just relied on Loren crossing it in and hoping we connected. I mean, I want to see the ball work through the middle, and I don't more than just a winger coming in, cutting in, and hoping they get a shot off from 30 yards. We have to be better than that, and it's easy for other teams to organize around us. So I like Arteta, but I feel like, and he's organized the back a little better for the most part, and it's good we're building out that way. I was hard on El Nene, and I've liked the way he's put in the work ethic and reingratiated himself to the team. So I like his rehabilitation of certain players. I feel better with Arteta and Luiz together, than I did with, under other managers. So I'm feeling overall good, but I do feel like tactically this is falling on him, and I think he's learning on the job as great as he is as a person.
Yeah.
We don't have the finished article like some of the other teams that we're competing against. And the people, thank God United are where they are, because that is it's just like it's a train wreck and then it's not. And then it's a train wreck again. And then this guy keeps staying in his job, and he clearly doesn't know what he's doing in terms of on a management level. But it's good for us that they're a mess. But I would like to see solidarity, like a foundation, and he hasn't found the attacking secret yet with these players.
Okay, it's really interesting because you really delved into that. For the people that don't know who you are, how did you get into Arsenal? Why are Arsenal your club?
Oh, let's see. Well, it was hard to watch, especially English league and soccer growing up. Premier League started back, in the early 90s. It just wasn't on TV in the US. I moved to Manhattan in 94 where I went to college. So finally I lived across the street from like an English pub and I could go watch matches. So I got into it. I grew up playing soccer my whole life. And
sorry, Carl, what pub was that? Because I was in New York and I went to a pub.
I'm
just wondering.
Do you remember the pub's name from like 35 years ago?
They moved though. It was famous. It was actually a Man United establishment. It was on 3rd Avenue. It was famous, and then they moved around the corner near what's the club? Oh my God! It's like 3rd and 7th, 3rd and 9th. They're right around there.
I know exactly which pub you're talking about, Kyle. I'm gonna Google it right now.
There's a whole bunch of them that were in this on 3rd Avenue, 2nd Avenue, and I would hit them all. And you'd have to pay $20 and get an orange juice for breakfast and watch the games. It was a thing. Because you just couldn't get it on your regular TV. And that's how I got into it more.
Was it Smithfield Hall?
No.
All right.
I don't know how
Anyway, carry on.
It's still there. And so I finally was in New York and I could wake up and all I would do on a Saturday is wake up, watch games, and I had an affinity for Arsenal already. And then I think it really cemented once Bergkamp came over and, probably around Cup Winners' Cup time versus Parma. So it was back in the day. And I really haven't missed matches since, unless I'm on set working or, I'm having a baby or something. I don't miss games. So I've watched everything. I've lived through the pain over the last, 25 years hard. And
do you have a lot of friends that are soccer fans, as you call it over there, or are you on your own with it?
No, I do. People would always come over. We would watch games at my house on a Saturday or Sunday. So people would come over with croissants and we'd watch and
croissants.
Yeah, we'd be into it. There'd be like 5 or 6 hours. So if I met somebody from the UK, they would come join. And there's a lot of UK born people living in Los Angeles or New York. So I would meet them. Whenever I meet someone from England, I'm always like, "What's your team?"
Yeah.
We immediately get in.
I'll never forget that day I arrived on set on Bailey Lethal, and there's Samuel Jackson, and you got Sophie Turner and Haley Steinfeld, Jessica Alba, and all I could see was this dude wearing an Arsenal shirt.
Oh,
and
I
am like, who is that dude? Because I don't care who's on set, he's the coolest geezer right now. I'm heading towards him
on my phone. I was trying to get Wi-Fi. And it was in the middle of shooting. I was like, "Where's this game? Oh my God!" Like,
we're in the middle of Georgia, and we're shooting, and Kyle's looking for the Arsenal game for us to watch during like a lunch break. It was hilarious.
So that's do you know what? That is the best thing when you go around the world, any country, anywhere, and you're walking down a street in a foreign country, and someone's wearing an Arsenal top. You just feel that affinity, don't you? You just feel. You could, if you went up to them, it is like a family member.
Yeah.
It's a family member. I'm telling you, it's like me when I'm abroad and I meet someone Jewish. It's the same thing. It's just that connection. You have that connection with all Arsenal fans. Don't matter where you are, whatever part of the world, wherever I am on holiday, I meet Arsenal fans. And I could be in the middle of anywhere. And
I stay in touch with everybody I meet that's an Arsenal fan. Like, I don't have any ex-friends that are Arsenal fans. Like, they're friends for life. We talk about it. We're on threads. It's your instant family. Like, I've
always said, Kyle, it's like a cult. I've said that properly, and I've spelt it properly. CULT. It is.
Good spelling right there. Could have been disastrous.
It's a good feeling. You know that you have the shorthand and familiarity, and they've lived through the same highs and lows and the pains and the glories, and they feel it, and it's great to, and I see kids walking around, little kids with like a Man United shirt, and I was like, oh, child abuse. It's Especially if you see a couple of friends like, I've getting into the Premier League. It's been on NBC. I think I'm going to like this team Spurs. I'm just like,
oh God.
Okay, so you've mentioned
What?
Man United a little bit. This is quite
Yeah,
interesting
he hates
because
them.
do you hate them more than Spurs? Is United?
No. There was like a special rivalry. It was just, I remember back in the day when I really was into it. It was those heated FA Cup matches and just being packed into these pubs with obnoxious United fans. And one of my best friends is United. I have a lot of friends that, they all support the different teams, and it's healthy banter. I don't have a particular distaste for him. Actually, I have more respect for Man United and Liverpool than I do maybe for Chelsea and City. Spurs, it's a special dislike. I don't dislike Spurs fans. I also have good friends that are Spurs fans. I don't
see. This is what I was getting at. Because you've not grown up in the London area, a lot of people don't get Arsenal fans hating Spurs fans. They hate Chelsea or United or Liverpool. It's not like that. If you it's Spurs. End of. It will never be anyone different. That will never change. Number 2 could change. 1 minute it's Chelsea, the next minute it's United. But it's really interesting. It's because you're not grown up in the area of it. Yeah. So you have different hatreds for different teams, but it is Spurs. That's it. And I find that I've learned that talking to all my American friends. They hate Chelsea with a passion.
No, I don't. Yeah, I've been to Stamford Bridge.
It's Spurs.
Stamford Bridge. It was the best. I remember some of the stewards would come like, mate, check it. And they'd have like Arsenal under their
jackets.
Yeah. You sound like Dick Van Dyke.
Like, check it.
All of them were secretly Gooners. So, but it is Spurs. I mean, there's big holidays. There's Christmas and Thanksgiving and Halloween. I love them all. But St. Totteringham's Day is like a big one on the calendar. You just want to know when the pain begins for them. So,
Kyle.
Yeah,
Kyle, I got a question. What's a couple of your favorite times in that pub watching Arsenal?
Oh, wow.
Memories.
90s were good to us. Oh, they were so good to us.
I was watching. I think it was the Bergkamp. Was it Davies goal, Newcastle, where he
spun it around him,
and that was pretty incredible. It wasn't like it was a big crowd, and it was just the people that were there were just like, holy shit, Definitely watching, a couple of the the trophy wins there.
Did you watch the Invincible season there?
Yeah,
or was it late? Was it after?
I was in Manhattan, so there
I
floated around different pubs, but the Will Tord, that whole great game.
Will Tord. I never know how to feel about him, but I feel kind of like when I think of him, I think he was really just a good player for us, wasn't he?
It wasn't world class, but he was.
Yeah, he was solid.
Like Lacazette in a way. Lacazette's like a new kind of. He's solid, and if he's supported well, he's gonna. Is
Lacazette Will Tord 2.0? Maybe.
Will Tord never won player of the season, did he?
No.
Lacazette has.
But he sacrificed a lot too, Will Tord.
It was hard for Will Tord to shine in that lineup, though, to get player of the season when you're playing with. He was, in a way, he was a really solid support, a platform so these other guys could even shine more. And he did sacrifice a bit. And he was really never top scorer, but he served his like a Firmino, like he does.
He scored important goals, didn't he? He scored important goals.
He really did. He didn't have the flair of Freddie, and he didn't, wasn't like Pires, but you really couldn't replace him in that team. And I think when we're firing on all cylinders, if Lacazette fits into that, I think we need him. But it's hard. I know people don't really like playing with two strikers, but nobody does it. But we have to do something differently.
We have to. If we don't, we're in trouble. Before we get into a little bit more, kind of nuts and bolts here, a lot of people in chat are asking, they want to know your favorite all-time players since we got your current 5. I think I know this, and we've asked you this before, Amanda and I. I don't think KC knows, but who's your favorite all-time player?
I mean, I probably have said Bergkamp. It's probably a Bergkamp Henry tie.
No, there's no ties. Come on.
Casey
Play off.
doesn't like ties.
Play off. No ties.
No,
Don't sit
I'm
on
gonna
the
go
fence,
with-
Kyle.
Look, I'm going to go with Bergkamp, and I'm also a Dutch supporter, and the affinity was like Bergkamp coming to Arsenal really made it so I would never miss a game. I watched it religiously because I was just, such a fan. So he definitely ingratiated me to the cult of Arsenal. So I think for that special nostalgic reason, Bergkamp. But there's been so many incredible memories with Henry after, and an equally dynamic and integral part of our history. So it's hard. I mean, there's eras, and I guess overall I would say Bergkamp for symbolically, how he brought me in.
You guys, it was the anniversary of the Henri slide the other day. Did you see that? That now has become the infamous statue.
Was it?
Yes, indeed it was. And so, Kyle, I think because we've got new listeners now too with our YouTube channel that's kicked off since we last spoke on the old traditional
I love
podcast.
This is great.
So
Yeah, we get to see you. Look.
Yeah.
Some folks want to know, did you ever go to our show is called Highbury Squad. Casey played there. Amanda's been a season ticket holder since she was in nappies. I a little bit later. And people are just kind of really enjoying you and saying you really know your stuff. Did you ever go to a game at Highbury? Were you ever able to do that?
I was there once, but I didn't get to go to the game. I would linger outside. I think I overlapped in London where there was no match. And but I just would. The first thing I did was get off the airplane, drop my bags off, and just go wander around.
Church.
Yeah.
And where else? But I've been to Emirates I wouldn't say quite a bit. Obviously, it's been less the past few years. Since I've had kids, it's hard to just go. I'm always like, I'll just go for a day. I'm crazy like that. If I can, I would love to. Obviously, having little people in your life makes it hard to just drop and go. But I'm going to be doing that more. This year. I was like, I'm going this year. I'm going to go extended run of matches and maybe around the holidays. And obviously 2020 happened. And now I'm in Toronto working on something. So, everything's worked against me making the pilgrimage, but I'm going to be there maybe the spring. Maybe.
Well, Carl, you can come and sit with me.
I'd love it. Yeah, it's always hard finding tickets. I won't
I've
have a problem
lost
getting
count
you a
how many
ticket.
guests on the show are sitting with Amanda. It's going to be very expensive.
I only invite the people that I want to sit with me.
Well, that's 50 at the moment. Yeah.
I think
I'm trying to make Kyle feel special.
Kyle, I never get invited to sit with her. Never.
You're always opposite on the other side of the ground to me.
Well, that's how far away from you I want to be.
Maybe the first time I ever got to see, it was special. I got to go to the stadium and I got to sit in Freddie's box. And
my seat is with the peasants, I'm afraid, Kyle.
Wait, no, but I know the experience of sitting with like the
craft services, Kyle. Amanda's craft services.
Yeah, a bit of leap for me. It's pie and chips outside with a bottle of beer.
Bergkamp and his son were by himself in his box, and they were next to me.
Wow.
And I was with Freddie's brother, and he's like, "Let's go talk to Dennis." And he had just retired and stuff. So we walked over and took a picture with him and talked with him, and then that was pretty unique. And then Freddie picked me up at the hotel one night, and I was with my fiance.
Are you talking about Freddie Lundberg?
Yeah.
Oh,
he picked me up in the car, and I was like, "Is this real?" And he's like, "Let's go." It was just me, him, and my future wife, and he took us to a club in London. We went in through the kitchen, and then the DJ started playing music for Freddie, and I was like, "What just happened in my life? What am I doing here? This is crazy."
How did you know him?
I think my wife at the time reached out, fiance, and she reached out to the I don't know, through a team, and they're like, "We really want to come see Arsenal," and they're like, "Oh, I guess Freddie was a fan or something," and he's like, you can sit with him and his brother in his box, and you guys he'll take you around. And we're like, "What?" And she's like, "Do you know this guy Freddie?" I'm like, yes, like incredible.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was like a spoiled very first experience over there.
And then if you come and sit with me, it'd be even better.
But I love sitting in
with the proper fans.
With the fans. And I was over there a year later and I brought another fan. He's like, oh, go check out the match. I'm like, it's going to be like nothing you've ever been to, but your seat's not near me. I found him a seat somewhere else in the stadium. And he's like, I don't even know this league. What's going on? And then I ran into him at halftime and he had like his shirt off and he was like, he was going crazy. He was with all these new people. He was like, this is the best experience of my life. And he just disappeared again. And I was like, what? All right. He's okay. I was worried about him. I'm like, is he going to be like out of sorts at halftime? And he was just like,
I want to know what club Freddie took you to. Do you remember?
I honestly don't remember.
Dang. I'd like to know
I love that
what
you
club.
went through the kitchen.
Yeah, through the kitchen there too.
Treatment.
It's very good, fellas. Very good, fellas.
And they played it. The DJ had something just for Freddie, and it was like
it was probably his song "We Love You, Freddie."
Well, the Swedes love their dance music,
Freddie. It was something else he did, and he like mixed it in, and it wasn't "We Love You, Freddie," but it was pretty crazy.
He obviously went there a lot to be able to go through the kitchen and have the DJ play music for him.
It was like
fantastic.
Yeah.
KC, was that how the Tuesday club rolled? You just turned up through the kitchen?
No kitchens. We go through the front door. That lot. There was no messing around with no kitchens.
We also have Newman, another Newman, paying homage to a pop icon right there in the house as well. Thanks everyone for joining. You're listening to the Highbury Squad. We're here with Carl Newman on Lockdown Series episode 8. We're talking a little Arsenal. We're going to be talking a little Dungeons and Dragons in a little bit as well. Kyle, I asked this question on the show, and Amanda and Kevin and I are very split on this. And I have to ask everyone who comes on the show. It's got to be done, PG. It's got to be done.
Okay.
Let's see what Kyle says. This season, I really want to win Europa League. I don't care about the FA Cup and the League Cup. I want to win a European trophy and get to another European final. I actually think Arteta could probably do it. Yeah. With that said,
hold on a minute here.
No, that's what I said.
You know where I'm gonna say, PG, that Listen, the hostess with the mostest. Kyle, I've got to just interject a little bit. Could you just get to where you want to take it? You want to qualify for the Champions League.
Where's my gavel?
Winning an FA Cup. Come on.
Okay, so Kyle, would you swap winning an FA Cup this season to finish in the top 4 and get back to being competitive again in the Premier League? I'll get my gavel next time. He's noodling.
Look, as a fan, I want to win trophies, but for the health of the club,
he's going my way.
I think for the health of the club, I mean, we've got to raise the profile again. I think certain players are avoiding us because they think it's gotten even worse. It's so stratified. Like if you're not operating on that level and they're not playing against, a third finishing German team, people feel like they're. I don't know. There's
a myth, Kyle. That's a myth. That is not true.
You're probably right. That's why I'm not sure.
Not true.
What's the sound feedback? Carl, you're a director. Do you hear this sound feedback going on right now? Is there like a wind tunnel?
You know what? Maybe it's my air conditioning. Hold on.
All right. In Toronto in November?
Hey, that's some aircon. That's some aircon.
It's the heat. It's gone off. So, look, there's nothing better than winning a trophy. And I know it's this consolation trophy top 4. And I don't see why we can't have both. I think you never feel great about a team that finishes 7th and wins an FA Cup. You're just like, something's still wrong. It's like we got lucky. Maybe we got to play Sheffield Wednesday and round whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's not a true litmus test to how great you are as a team. And 38 matches doesn't lie. So there's something better about knowing that your team is healthy and it didn't just get a trophy because of how the schedule landed. I do think our goal should be both. And the fact that we have to pick one or the other and hope for one or the other is a sad state. And I think the health of the club, every summer I feel like we're about to do it. We're 1 player away, we're 2 players away, and then there's somebody teed up, and for whatever goddamn reason, you don't go buy the player. And every year we are in the same position. It's like Groundhog Day. and every Arsenal fan knows, and I think every journalist knows, and everyone outside the club knows, our business is terrible. We don't buy players early like other clubs. We don't do it with confidence. Confidence makes people feel great, and they go buy shirts. If you're buying people at 11:59 on the transfer window day, that doesn't feel like confidence. It feels like we got a good deal. It feels like you went to the supermarket and, oh, these are on sale, I'll buy one of these. That doesn't feel like I need to go out and excited. It feels like something schizophrenic within the club. And when we bought Sanchez or Ozil, those were statements. So I like statements. I think statements are good PR. And the media has a field day with how bad our business is, and how, like, the Partey deal lasted all summer and everyone was up in the business of it. If you're going to get the guy, just go get him. What's the problem? You're going to save £3 million? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, but there's two sides to the story, Kyle. There's there's Atletico Madrid, who didn't want to sell. That's the issue. They were very, very difficult in their dealings, and they made sure they got a deal for Torreira in the process.
But we heard about that deal for 2 months, and I feel like, and in fairness, you're right on that one. But there's other deals where they're very transparent all summer, and you just hear of us niggling over, trying to meet in the middle of like around £7 million, and we spend 2 months doing it, and then the person misses their whole embedding in summer, and then we say, oh, they need some time to embed now, and they need some time to get used to the league, and you just throw in like people in like Thomas. We threw him in like right away, and it would have been great to see how he gels with the play. He's going to take him a few months. I just think our business is far too transparent, and it's not good. It's not good PR. And we should be making confidence buys as well. There's something that comes from buying a player and making a statement and doing it at the right timing, as opposed to bargain buying. And there's a price, there's a value that comes with it. And that's translated into how people feel as fans, and it's translated into shirt sales.
So Kyle, you want to win trophies then? Yeah? Or do you want to win trophies, or do you want to finish the top four? Is it top four?
Come on.
Is it top four or is it trophies? Let's just get that clear.
Okay, I'll take the Europa League over a top four.
No Europa League, because that's a trophy.
I did say my argument.
No, because that is a trophy. Is the Europa League not a trophy?
I said I'd rather get to the Europa League final and have a chance to win that.
No, Sophie. Okay. What you said is you'd rather finish in the top four than win the FA Cup.
100%. I stand by that.
Like Europa. Groundhog Day. Right.
Because the Europa League is a trophy.
Yeah, Kyle agrees.
Let's just accept that Sophie does not agree with us, Kev. That's it.
I accept that, but what I don't want is more narrative chucked in. Yeah. Because when Kyle then says, "Yeah, I'd like to win the Europa,"
well, of course, why wouldn't we?
It's a trophy.
So what do you want? Is it any trophy or just FA Cup?
No,
FA Cup.
Let me explain, because these do not stop worrying about this. Okay, do you want to come second, third, or fourth with no trophy, but it's progression, or win a trophy, any trophy?
This year, I'll take second, third, or fourth, because we've gotten FA Cups and it hasn't gotten us anywhere.
Right, but it's a trophy, and that's what you play football for, to win trophies.
We've won 4 in 6 years.
But I'm in it
and
for
you are taking it like
I'm in
for
it for
granted.
Life. I'll take second, third, or fourth this year.
Okay, that's fair enough, Carl. So you agree with Soph, and that's absolutely fine.
But this year, in general, I would say almost any other year, I'd take the FA Cup.
Exactly. It's about this year. Well done, Kyle.
Change. This year, second, third, or fourth, we need it. We need something different.
Sorry. Okay. So what do you win for second, third, or fourth?
Nothing, but it doesn't matter. We need the money, man. We need the moolah.
The money. We've got one of the richest owners in the world. He just doesn't want to spend money.
Look, Kyle will tell you about the stadium he's built here in LA and where the money's gone. He
bleeds it out of Arsenal, and he pockets it, and he puts it into other clubs.
Yeah,
and
he's got money.
He equivocates, and it's the same thing. It's with Wenger too. I mean, that man was a godsend and a legend, and he did certain things, and he did it with such a kind face, and he took a lot of hits for bad business.
Oh yeah, he's like this. Did you like this one? Hey Casey, I know you're looking at Mars Gunner. This one, a trophy as long as it's not the Audi Cup. I love that. Well done, Mars Gunner. That's really cool. All right, well look, we're 35 minutes in. We've got a little taste of Kyle, and for all our new listeners and stuff, I think you've got a little bit of a smorgasbord of Kyle as a Gooner. Right. Is there something that you haven't asked yet, PG, when it comes to the Arsenal and
no, it's just that if you sit with me at Arsenal, Carl, I have to come on one of your red carpet events in LA.
We'll trade. You're in.
That's the trade. Kev has to come as well.
I will. You guys are all in. If you come to LA,
what about me?
I haven't been to LA since 1979. The last time I was in America was New York a few years ago.
Empire Strikes Back. Was that? Kyle, was that no, that was
1980.
Oh, my other half, Kyle, is such a geek. He loves his best thing on the planet is Star Wars, but Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones.
My favorite. It's Arsenal and Star Wars.
Yeah, well, that's him. You just could be him. That's it. Yeah. I wouldn't like to ask him to choose between Arsenal, Star Wars, and me. Because
that's a good question. Marry, kill. Kill. No. What is it? Game of Thrones, Star Wars, and Arsenal.
Oh, and the next thing is The Walking Dead. Don't even talk to him when that's on. Oh my life.
Oh well, one of our other good friends
lately. Star Wars, the new movies. It's been hit or miss, and I feel like I as a fan of that, I feel like let down.
What's been a hit or miss? Sorry.
Star Wars.
Yeah, he's a guru.
Is it The Mandalorian or something?
Well, The Mandalorian's fine. It's just some of the new movies. You know, I'm not a Last Jedi fan, and it really.
I quite like Star Wars, but
it pained me. You know, like when something means everything to you, and then you get this one thing, and
feel like Arsenal really.
Fandom. It was really hard, and I think that was at the same time all this was happening with. You know, a lot of transition at Arsenal. And I was like, what's happening? Everything I love, what's happening here? But, you know, there's something that sport gives you that cinema doesn't. You know, sport, there's an unpredictability to it. And you get vested in a different way. And there's something live and spontaneous and fresh. And there's every season resets and there's the hope for change. And with like a film franchise, you know, you're spoon fed it and you know what's going to happen, what it is. And there's a different relationship. And Star Wars it's why I got into filmmaking. It's why I love it.
Next time, right? So I liked Game of Thrones. I only got into it last year and I binge watched so I could watch the last series with everybody. But I wasn't into it at all for years. I know everyone was upset, but then I got into it. I actually didn't think the ending was that bad, but people were absolutely distraught over that ending. And I don't think my other half has ever got over it. So when you do a film, Carl, could you just do decent endings that are really, really good? One of the best endings in a film was The Usual Suspects.
Fantastic.
That to me.
Hashtag focus group.
Yeah,
Suspects incredible. But there's great movies like all the way back to like The Third Man and Casablanca. And there's great movies with great endings are the ones that stick with you. It's a Wonderful Life.
The worst show on the planet, Kyle. Well, I'm still angry that I gave all my time to was Lost. Oh my God.
I never finished it. God. I have to finish it. I'm going back.
Don't bother.
Don't ruin it.
One day I'm going to finish it. I'm in the middle of season 3, and then everyone went to hell on it, and I avoided spoilers, and now no one talks about it, and I never got a chance to go back to it, and I'm going to finish it one day soon.
So everyone's saying this about the GOT ending being the worst.
It's Jon Snow. You can't treat Jon Snow like that. That was so disrespectful. I get what Carl's saying too about Star Wars, because Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back is the best one of all. My hairs go up on end when I think about it. It's the Invincibles, right? So relatable to Arsenal, Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back PG are the Invincibles. Carl will probably agree with this. And then the prequels, I mean, I worked on those when I was at 20th Century Fox. That was really tough. But if you go back and watch them, they're not as bad now, Kyle. I would agree. They're not as bad.
I didn't mind all the new films. I like Darth Vader and all that. But Anyway, I'm just saying people got very upset about GOT, honestly.
Once again, Mask
The
Gunner
best
coming in
ending ever.
with
Yeah,
another winning comment is the Mask Gunner. And Pramod, our listener in India, we love him. He's
hello,
thankful
Pramod.
that you didn't mention
I've
Frozen.
never watched Frozen.
Okay, so let's get stuck into a little bit because it does lead into Dungeons and Dragons, and there are a lot of people listening who are D&D fans. But I think a little bit like, you know, Star Wars was so classic, and the wheel was reinvented, Kyle. And I think there's a few people here in La La Land who are responsible for the resurgence of D&D. You've been super passionate about it from a young age. And there's a group of you that get together, a lot of key influencers here in Los Angeles, who kind of created a little group, and you started playing the game. If I believe, and I know I'm correct here, even Vince mentioned it the other night on a late night show, Vince Vaughn, that Sofia Vergara has, you know, rented her basement out to you. Although it's not rented because Joe's married to Sophia, it's their home. But Joe Manganiello created a dungeon. I had the pleasure of working with Joe on a film he directed, a documentary called Le Bear. You guys should check it out. Super cool. He's a great filmmaker, great storyteller. He has an amazing clothing line called Death Saves, if you're into that kind of stuff. I mean, it's really super cool swag and gear. And you guys created this group that involves one of the creators of Great Game of Thrones, Vince Vaughn, yourself, Joe, and it's all happening in the superstar of Modern Family's basement. Tell everyone a little bit about that and how that came to be.
So Joe, I met Joe. I reached out to him. I heard he was a big D&D fan. I had just written a book called Art and Arcana, which was the history of Dungeons and Dragons. And I asked Joe to do a forward. I went to go meet him at his office, and I met his brother, and we just bonded over Dungeons and Dragons. We bonded over Star Wars and everything like that. We all grew up. We were about the same age. We grew up with the same passions in movies. And he's a passionate sports fan. He's a big NFL guy for Pittsburgh Steelers. But you know, I understand when you love stuff like the way I love Star Wars or Arsenal or Dungeons and Dragons, you live it, you breathe it, you do it fully, unabashedly. You wear your heart on your sleeve, and that's the kind of guy he is. So we bonded, and then we started playing together. So we formed this group. And it started out small, and we've just added people. So Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine joined, and he brought with him D.B. Weiss and David Benioff, you know, the Game of Thrones creators. So they play WWE superstar The Big Show, who's the largest human I've maybe ever met in my life. I mean, his hands were like this big. And we were asking the other night, we're like, what's the most you've ever weighed? And he's like, 545 pounds. We're like, holy. And he's like 7 feet tall. And Joe was like, dude, I was jacked at one point. The biggest I've ever been in my life, maybe like 255, and he's 6'5". And then he's like, and I felt huge. And this guy is more than double what I was. And I mean, he grew up playing, Paul, and he just loves D&D. So for everybody, it's like getting back together like when you were teenagers and playing. And like you said, Vince brings this, you know, live wire crazy energy to it, and he was promoting Freaky, and you know, Ellen talked to him about it, and you know, she doesn't know what D&D is. She's just like, so you'll play this thing, and you know, and the funny thing is we do play in Sophia and Joe's, you know, converted wine cellar, and I think she was going to make a Pilates studio or something out of it. It's got a lot of mirrors, and then Joe's like, hold on, let me turn this into my game room, and it's this really cool little space, and you jam. We have 11 people playing in that game. It's big. This is atypical for D&D. Normally it's like max 6 or 7, but there's sometimes 11 or 12 people. And we get in this little room and we play. And you know, Sophia comes down and checks on us and brings us cookies and snacks. And everyone. The first time we played there was like someone wheeled in some coffee and tea and cookies and all this salami, and we're like, is that for? You having a party later? And like, no, this is for you. Like, she's like wheeling us in food, and we're just like, wow, okay. That's
so epic.
And you know, she supports it, and I don't think she understands exactly what it is. She's always joked. She's like, who wins? Who won tonight? We're like, nobody wins. But it's good. I mean, it's a healthy obsession, you know. And I don't drink. I've never done drugs or done anything in my life. I'm completely sober. I like board games. I like games with people. I like hanging out with people face to face. D&D is community. It's like a communal storytelling. You get together and you tell the story, and it's improv, not like it's improv comedy, but if somebody rolls bad dice, you have to go with it in your story and make it up. And then you have the dungeon master who kind of narrates you through it. And the story keeps going on, and you add layers and memories. It's really special, and it's not like
Amanda, you're going to have to play this with Carl at Christmas. Casey, I can feel this. She's the dungeon master.
I have no clue
with a dungeon. Yeah,
and it's hilarious. You almost don't need to know any rules.
Got a question.
Yeah, go for it.
When you say you play it, right? The only thing I know, because I had to ask Carl before we started, my Carl, is. He said, don't you remember in Stranger Things they were playing it? Now, Stranger Things I really enjoyed, weirdly. But so what is it, like a fantasy game or something that adults play? I'm so lost.
It is. What it's like is, okay, there's some mechanics. There's several components to it. There's a story side of it where you'll get together and you'll talk, and you could go into he'll create a setting. A dungeon master's like, you walk into a tavern and you see a person over there and there's this over here, and you can go do anything. You could go over and murder somebody. You could go steal somebody's money. You could go in there and, entertain people. You can start a bar fight. You can do anything you want, but dice will determine. You'll roll the dice and how you perform or how you attack somebody, and then how you fare on that.
So when Joe's the master, is that spontaneous? Then
it's you do a lot of preparation. So he's like, if we're playing for 6 hours, he's got to prepare for like 6, 8, 12 hours to get it ready. And sometimes it's combat, it's tactical. So it looks like a board game, and you're moving your pieces, and you'll do combat, and you'll cut people off, and you'll use spells, and you'll attack with swords. It's there's phases to it. But what's most rewarding about it, what makes it different from a video game or a board game, is it's an infinite universe. So a video game there's an end to that world. There is a border that ends. They stopped making the game. D&D can literally go anywhere your imagination goes. The dungeon master has to roll with the story. You'll be like, wow, what just happened? How are we here? What did you just killed this important person? And you have to the story has to change. And you are, but it's weird. It's almost like an episodic show that you're writing as you play it. And it just keeps changing. So there's
a little bit like
hilarious about it.
What's the crikey? His name's escaping me now. But the guy who Best in Show and For Your Consideration, that filmmaking, that kind of thing. KC, to me, this sounds like a bit like Dennis Bergkamp. Makes it as he goes along, gets in the moment.
And you'll come in with a character, so you'll be like, I want to be this knight, or I'm this barbarian who just chops people's heads off, or I'm
that's Vieira. I'm
a wizard, so you have a character, and there's things you're good at, and there's things you're terrible at, and you kind of just play to that story.
Oh, I'm going to be the master then.
You might like it. Some people love being the dungeon master. You're kind of the adjudicator of rules, and you'll tell people what they do.
Yeah, that's her, all right, telling people what to do. Yeah, dungeon master.
Yeah,
sure.
That's me. D&D.
So what do you guys think we should do? If we're going to give a couple books away, we got to get folks to do something a little bit more than just tell us in 140 characters why you deserve a signed copy of Carl's book. But tell us, before we get to that, Carl, tell us a little bit about your book, because it's not just about the essence of D&D. You've actually created a cookbook out of it, which during lockdown and in 2020, I think could be fun for a lot of people and add a little spice and creativity in the kitchen.
Absolutely. So we had done this other book, which was really successful, and it was on the history of the game and the visual history. And we got into really the history of fantasy art and how it's evolved over the last 50 years and the way people tell stories visually. And D&D inspired everything. You saw movies like Conan get made, and things like Lord of the Rings, and obviously they borrowed a lot from Lord of the Rings, but Lord of the Rings films and all these big video games, even Game of Thrones, everything kind of stands on the shoulders of Dungeons and Dragons and its success. And it opened up doors in fantasy. And it's all about immersion. Dungeons and Dragons, you want to get into that world and really get into the characters. And you're already at a table playing with people for 6 hours. So you're going to already be eating Doritos and crap food, and the idea is to add another level of immersion to your game because people want that. So our publisher at Penguin Random House, they do a lot of cookbooks, like Ina Garten's books and some really big cookbooks. They're probably one of the biggest cookbook publishers in the world. Like, what about a D&D cookbook? And at first, we weren't sure how that would work. But the idea was, let's make it something that's not just like food. Let's make it a cultural guide. Let's get into these varied cultures like elves and dwarves and halflings. Halflings are like hobbits, humans, and all the exotic races that exist in this world, like orcs and cat people and everything. Everyone's got their culture. And let's explore regionally how things would happen. And D&D's got maybe 1,000 novels that have been published. So there's all this material to mine where they talk about what happens at a feast, or what a certain culture might eat at a banquet, or what they eat on the trail. So we had to mine all this material and research it and come up with this curated list of what these cultures would eat. What's elven food like? And it's probably more farm to table, more refined. They're very conscious of the land. They're not going to be just killing animals haphazardly. They're going to make sure if they kill an animal, they're going to use all its parts. And they're very tapped into the earth. And dwarves are going to be more communal food. They live underground largely. And what grows underground? Well, obviously not a lot of livestock. And so it informs what food is available to them. Halflings are more indulgent. There's a lot of fondues and soups and desserts and creams and sauces. They're like they love multiple meals a day, so they're much more about the food. And
did you come up with all the recipes, or have you had like Vince and Joe and other people?
Joe contributed one recipe. But otherwise, the other 79 are, I have a team that I worked with on the other book, and this is Michael Whitwer and John Peterson. John is probably the foremost expert on the history of gaming on Earth, and he's written some amazing tomes on it. Mm-hmm. And so he brings a certain knowledge, and we know where to look, and we all just divide and conquer and come back with what recipes could fit in this book, what's never been written about in this way, and what are familiar but fresh takes on stuff we love. And it's not just like English or Euro-based food. There's all types of inspirations, because D&D happens on these planets, and the planets are just as rich and diverse as Earth, and there's all types of regions. And
I love your passion for this,
cool.
Kyle. Like, you sent me into another. Right now, I'm walking in a universe. Yes, there it is.
Yeah.
Here's what I want you to do. What recipe would you recommend to Super Kevin Campbell?
Well, I'd have to know. Are you a vegetarian? Do you like meat? What do you like?
I don't eat red meat.
Don't you?
Really, Casey? No. I didn't know. When did you stop eating red meat?
31 years ago.
Oh, recent.
What? So, wow. Okay.
There's a couple things. So if you're looking, like right now, holidays are almost upon us, and there's some holiday themed stuff. And just like how the Catholics adapted the pagan holidays into their calendar, I think in D&D they ingratiate people by making things. There's familiar things that anchor their calendar. They have a type of Halloween. They have type of solstice and Christmas and all the different calendars. And
show us a little bit more as you're talking, Kyle, because it's beautiful. It really is a beautiful
book. The book. They did a stunning job with both the original art. Like, this is just what anchors Elven cuisine, and it's not just about
so much fun.
It's about like we get into the culture behind. What are the ceremonies that are involved? How do they gather? How do they source? How do they farm? And there's chapters that get into the beginnings of each chapter, get into the mindset. If you're an elf, how do you eat? Obviously, elves live for 700-800 years. So if
I want to be an elf,
that wine might be sitting there for hundreds of years, and they're not like humans. Humans like eat quicker, live faster. They dominate, they conquer. Elves have a different approach and the different way they would maybe marinate or cook, so there's time is a different idea for them.
So what's that recipe then?
Oh, so like
for example, just like Casey, he doesn't eat red meat.
There's even like menus from famous taverns and inns and the pricing structure. So if you're a dungeon master, you can like put this stuff in your game in a practical.
This is like a whole different world.
Can you imagine the creativity, Amanda, to put this together?
Wow.
So like,
this dude is unreal. I'm telling you.
Culture coming up right now. Like,
he needs to direct the next Star Wars movie. I'm just saying. Putting
we'd have a good ending.
Bangers and smash here.
Ooh. Oh. Bangers and is that vegetarian bangers?
No, but there are vegetarian dishes. Like there's a sect of elves called drow. They live underground. And And what's available to them is things like
never
mushrooms and insects and things like that. They don't have like cattle. You know, there's different things available. So there is drowned mushroom steaks in here, and it also fits like a vegetarian niche. And
that sounds nice.
That sounds lovely.
Really, there's an Eton mess type thing, an Elven dessert. You're familiar with that, right?
I know what Eton mess is, but I'm not really like a sweet. I've not got sweet tooth.
This one's like a chocolate meringue instead of like a lemon meringue, and there's variations.
Don't eat it. Don't eat chocolate.
Oh, that's nice. Not that I eat it.
There's a great turkey in here with a sausage stuffing. There's a halfling thing which is stuffed French toast, which is really good. That's something I put in here, which I always made. And you know, your bread is cut down the middle. It's great with like a brioche, and you kind of mix up mascarpone and cream cheese and a little bit of almond, and then you stuff it in the French toast. Then you egg batter it, and then you fry it, and then you put it's like an orange marmalade kind of syrup on top. It's really good. There's something for everybody in here. So if you're just cooking for yourself versus cooking a feast, there's even suggestions if you're going to make like a Thanksgiving, like you want to have all courses. It'll kind of curate for you what are the ideas, what things pair well together. There's drinks.
So Kyle, I'm keto. I eat keto. What could I eat in there?
There's literally options for everything. I wouldn't say it's heavy keto. I wouldn't say it's like a keto cookbook, but there's a few options in here. And I think a lot of it's customized. Like D&D, the beauty of Dungeons & Dragons is there's rules that are published. And each group takes and leaves what they like or don't. You know, you don't have to bend them.
Yeah, you can bend them.
What's Joe's recipe about then?
Because Joe there's a chili in here, and it's fictionally, the ingredient is
very Pittsburgh.
Basically made from hobbits meat. So his character is a dragonborn, and he eats other sentient creatures. So it's a substitute in here. It's like a turkey-based chili. But we try not to like play the game of, everything tastes like chicken and, you know, other fantasy meats. But in this one, it's a really good turkey-based chili. It's got some cocoa accents actually in it. And it's a little bit exotic. It's a little play on a traditional chili. And I think what I wanted to do is inject it with something left of center. So there's something familiar, but what makes it fantasy, or what ingredient, you know, that maybe turns it on its head or makes you look at it in a different way, or if it's even a soup, mixing elements in that aren't necessary in your traditional chicken soup, or how to make it more colorful. Or I always find like blending broths when I make soups is better than using one, especially if you're going out of a box stock or something. I like taking 2 or 3 different brands at the grocery store and then blending them. So you're not just going with 4 boxes of one. It makes a richer flavor when they kind of commingle. There's little things like that.
Amanda, it's making your chicken at night cooking a little bit boring, isn't it?
Yeah,
really? Let's face it.
I'm going to be elf cooking.
She's all right.
The alchemy that happens with cooking, I don't go by recipes per se. Whenever I cook, I do it a little different every time.
Yeah.
And I paint and I draw. That's my background. I like to change it, and I don't lock it in.
That's the director in you, though. Sometimes you go on instinct and your creativity, how you want to tell a story, right?
Yeah, it's fun.
It's fun.
You should do that. We use the book as like a starting place.
What are we going to do then to give the book? Anthony's like sounds good. The missus cooked me an omelette tonight. It was eating flip flop. So we're almost to the end of the show. So Kyle, what do you want to do? How do you want to give these signed copies of your New York Times best-selling book away? By the way, after an utter shite 2020, let's face it has not been great. To cap it off, you're in Toronto, you're directing your next movie.
Let's be honest. It's not.
Well, we won the FA Cup.
We did win an FA Cup.
We won the FA Cup again.
That was great.
It doesn't matter, Kev.
we won the FA Cup, so that's all good. Football came back, which is really good. We're all here and alive and breathing, which is epic. We have our health.
Boys.
You've got your adorable boys.
Yeah, it was a hard year on so many different levels. So this was a nice cap on it, you know.
Deserve it, mate.
For 2 years, like you spend 2 years, and filmmaking and stuff that's my primary occupation, but then I do this as like a side passion project. I got into publishing. This was my second book, so it's a great feeling. I know someone's like, you're like, oh, it's an accolade, or it's and New York Times is picky, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
It was like it's a good feeling to know that people acknowledge it and it's selling really well. Like considering 2020 has been so hit or miss and hard. I went through a divorce this year. It's really hard. So you end with something and you're like, okay, this is a good accomplishment and you feel good about it and people are responding well to it, like the fan community around it. So I don't know how you want to give stuff away or how you normally give stuff away. But I am whatever, do you guys do a system or do you have any way of picking your winners usually?
No, I mean, most of the time we leave it up to the person doing the giveaway. We can either do it by give them a recipe and send pictures, or we can just make it simple and have them tell us, you know.
We ask
Maybe
them
we
to send
one
us.
D&D fan.
Yeah.
Or this, if Amanda can give up meat for a week and prove it, someone wins a book.
No, I'm never giving up red meat. I like my steak.
Go on, Amanda. What was your idea, babe?
Maybe they could just write in with their favourite recipe, and they've got to incorporate some elves and dwarves and hobbits and things like that. I don't know.
Carl, what was your idea?
Maybe just maybe we give one to like a someone that crosses the line. That's a.
I think it has to be Bergkamp, Thierry. Like, I think we need to incorporate some Arsenal players in one at least, and then the other one we can give to a lot of the D&D fans that tuned in to listen tonight, and will listen on replay as well on YouTube and stuff. So, KC, you're creative. You had to, like, you know, you're up front. You got the ball. You need to figure out you're going to go left. You're going to go right. You're going to smash it in the top right corner, the left corner. How are you going to deceive the goalkeeper? If you're going to include players and a recipe, what would you do?
Well, I definitely wouldn't have Dave Seaman in it anyway, that's for sure. But, hey, you asked. That is his name, innit, Kyle? Dave Seaman, we wouldn't be involved. Look at the girls, you see? Look at the girls all falling about. Look, it's amazing.
I'm embarrassed for you.
Excuse me? Is Dave Seaman not Arsenal's ex-goalkeeper, for God's sake? Why is this not so difficult?
Oh my God, that's so amazing. I think.
Anyway, moving on.
I think fans. Go on, Casey.
Right,
go on.
Move on then.
No, you've got the floor.
Move on.
No, you got the floor.
This dungeon master wants to control and whip people already. Look.
I mean, she's a bit
looking
controlling.
At Kyle when you said that. Oh, then you realise he meant me.
KC, you picked 3 Arsenal players that they have to incorporate, like, you know, a creative recipe.
Yeah.
Somehow.
And then we'll choose who the best
person is. And then the second one, we'll just do a simple question. Go on.
Whoever makes us laugh the most.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. Dixon.
Ooh. He's gone Seaman Dixon. Sorry, go on.
No, Dixon.
Yeah.
Lorraine.
Poof.
Yes.
Poof.
And Podolski.
Oh, a bit of fun. Okay.
So wait, you've got a little German, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've got a little British.
Mm-hmm.
Bit of French.
And then you got a little French.
French, African with the African mix in it. There you go. Let's have a little bit of shimmy and shake in it.
We will put that on Twitter.
There you go.
Totally.
Love it.
And then I think for the second one, Kyle, we could do a question and ask everyone. Well, it'd be great to know the name of the pub that you went to in New York. We could get everyone to find that out.
Was it McSorley's? It might have been not McSorley's. It was
something like that.
Smith's.
How about something easy?
Hold on. What was it called?
It's called Nevada Smith's, and then they moved around the corner down like a half block, and they were part of this a big multi-story like nightclub, and they became like actually part of it after they moved shop. So Nevada Smith's was like a famous I think the owners always had like off season they would get United players in. You know, when United came to New York, they would always pop by Nevada Smith's. It was like a legendary United bar.
How about this one? Because you guys have been so integral together and you've been working together and stuff like that. We could do something simple like what NFL team does Joe support, or we could do which something like that. How about that? We're going to put them out on Twitter.
Yeah, don't worry, we'll deal with that.
We'll figure it out. Okay. We're going to give 2 books away. Casey decides the one, and then we'll regroup with you, and we're going to put them out on Twitter, and we're going to give away 2 copies of Kyle's New York Times best-selling book.
Signed copies if we can.
Signed.
Yes. Yeah, that'll be great, Kyle. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and it's very generous, Kyle, and everyone's loving it, and I think we'll get some really good stuff back from it as well, especially with KC's one too, with the 3 players. Very interesting, KC. I would have gone a different direction. Yeah.
I know you would have, but it's my choice.
Yeah.
My
your choice. All right, we're at the end of the show. Kyle, what do you want everyone to know before you leave? So when you hang up from us, you're going to be like, gosh, darn it, I wish I'd have told him that.
He loves us. Oh. That's what he wants to say.
No, I love this. This is great. And one of my favorite things to do is to just talk Arsenal and talk with like-minded people and have a little bit of banter and talk about how we do it differently. So this has brought a lot of joy. Like I miss it. Like my Arsenal threads have all gone quiet.
Yeah.
I think everyone's just
don't worry, we'll be back.
They'll pick up after Leeds.
After we lose.
International breaks are just the worst 2 weeks of my life.
They are. Let's get your prediction for the Leeds game. What do you think is going to happen before we go? Because we're going to do a prediction show. Well, we might not, but we're going to give predictions sometime between now.
I think we're going to scrape to a win. I think we're going to see him be stubborn and stick with Aubameyang on a wing.
Hope not.
Oh gosh.
I hope not, but I don't think he's stubborn as the way he's treated like Guendouzi and Ozil. And I don't think he's entrenched in ideas, and I think he's trying to prove himself. So I don't think he's going to listen to media or fans about how to do his lineup, and he knows, and he's made good choices on things.
He's very smart.
He's smart. I still think there's room for Partey, El Nene, and Ceballos. I think we maybe have too many wide players in this
I'd
team.
like Willock in there with Partey and Ceballos.
We should. Why not? We need something. I like Saka. We should be playing that guy. So I hope he makes some changes. I think we're going to win, but it's going to be topsy-turvy. And I think we're going to get our scoring back on. I think it's going to happen. I think this was a strange lull. I mean, God, if we lose the next match, it's
Leeds, Wolves, Tottenham next, mate.
Bring them on. Bring them all on.
What's your prediction?
Overall prediction for the year?
No, just the match on Sunday.
Match on Sunday? I think we'll win 2-1. I see Leeds getting a goal. I think we might actually go up, and then they might actually finish really strong and almost tie it, with a little bit of capitulation on our end, but surviving. I miss those days of going up 3 goals in the first 20 minutes, Look, our stats.
I miss just winning.
Our second half stats are
scoring,
winning.
Like, I don't know how we get ourselves back into games once we're behind, because we are one of the worst statistic teams in the second half. Shots, goals, everything. I think it's like bottom basement in the top, 100 teams in England. It's awful. So
2-1. You think we're going to win 2-1, yeah?
I think every game for the rest of the season, we better hope we get up first.
Kev, what do you reckon?
I think we'll win the game. I think 2-1 as well.
Oh, Soph?
Oh, dear. I think it's going to be like a 3-3.
I'm going 2-2.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to win that game.
No, nor do I.
No, it's a tough game. Don't get me wrong.
I think we'll go 2-0 down. I think it's going to start really badly for us because they start so quickly and then they regress a little, Leeds, the end of the first half, big second half. So, I don't know. I mean, we've got to start Maitland-Niles. We've got to have some discipline. He's got to really mix things up. And if he doesn't...
Listen, whoever he chooses, they're going to have a better mentality than they had against Aston Villa. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It might be better if we go 2-0 down and then 2-0 or 3-2, because that will give them a lot of confidence.
You mean like Villa,
No, but we didn't win that.
No, but I'm saying we went
We're very good.
2-0 down, then 3-0 down.
Villa was a nightmare. Anyway, let's end this on a nice note.
We will. Kyle,
we love you.
Amanda,
thank you, guys.
what's you arrange your date with Kyle next time he's in London?
I'm going to take him.
I'll tell you when I'm coming. We'll plan it. If you guys are always welcome, if you're in the States, we'll hang out. You can come by.
We'll hang out.
matches.
Don't you worry.
If people want
You
to
never get rid of us, Kyle.
come hang. I love it. You guys are Arsenal family. We're friends forever. You're never gonna get rid of me.
We are.
That's nice. That's nice.
These two to Soho House. They'll never leave, like ever.
Never.
Yeah,
I'm
never.
Kyle_Newman on Twitter and Instagram. If you ever want to talk D&D.
Oh yeah, I don't follow you on Instagram, so I need
especially
to.
Arsenal. I'm always down. So Kyle_Newman. You can find me there. And again, the book is called Heroes Feast, the official Dungeons and Dragons cookbook. It's for fantasy. Even if you're not like a D&D person, but you love fantasy and Lord of the Rings and things like that, there's something in it for everyone. And it's a great cookbook if you love cooking.
You need to send me one, Cole, because my other half is into fantasy and he's 50 on Friday, and I think he would have loved something like this.
Oh, we have to sing to him.
We have to sing to him.
You're not on. You're not on Friday. You're not on, and he's okay. So we've got to do. Who's ready to sing a bit of Happy Birthday right now? Everyone in chat as well. I mean, we love a little happy birthday on our show. Casey, are you a happy birthday singing kind of guy? If we make it like Funky Friday.
If it's Funky Friday, no problem.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear
Carl.
And he's 50.
Happy birthday to you.
Woo! He's going to kill me. Oh, thank you all.
We know when to end the show, and I think that's it. Go on, Amanda. Sign off.
Thank you, Kyle.
Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you, darling. We'll see you very soon.
Thank you so much.
It's been brilliant. I've learned so much about D&D. I feel like I'm there already.
I love it.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you so much, darling. Take care. Everyone take care. And always Arsenal.